Welcome to part 2 of our Bandai Star Destroyer build. Part 1 was the build portion, and part 2 here is the paint. We have our destroyer completely built, however, I decided to break it back down again. I realized that would be easier than masking off all the clear parts. We begin with an overall coating with a light gray primer. And now I'm going to do some pre-shading with black primer. The black primer is still going to be slightly visible underneath our base coat. So this is going to add a little bit of shade in the recesses, but most importantly, it's going to add a little bit of variation to the hull. For our base coat, I'm going to use two different colors. First, Vallejo Model Air Dark Ghost Gray, and then Pale Blue Gray. Once again, this is going to add a little bit of variation to our base coat using two different shades. Now, I don't want to start an argument about what color a Star Destroyer is, because there is actually a lot of controversy online about it, even though there's been several movies with them. Some people say they're pure white, some off-white, some light gray. The problem is we honestly just don't know at this point, because even if we do know the color of the original ship, there's the effects of as the paint ages, the filters used on screen in the studio, the type of lighting, the type of film used. So basically anything that is anywhere between white and a light gray, you should be fine. Next is a whole lot of dry brushing with a mixture of wolf gray and white. Normally, I would never dry brush a model. However, in this case, because we have so much fine detail on this Star Destroyer, I think a dry brush can really help to bring out all those little greebles all over the ship. Now, this is where the fun begins. We will be painting the Aztec pattern by hand. At first I tried doing it with masking, but I quickly realized that was going to take way too long for what I had in mind. The idea here is simple. Just to add a little bit more variety to the ship, we are going to be adding an Aztec pattern, which basically just means all those little boxes that are all over the ship. We're going to go around and paint a vast majority of them a slightly different color than the base coat. You do not have to use the exact same colors that I'm using here. The key difference is variety, and as you can see, I used a wide variety of different colors for the Aztecing. Some are very dark, some are very light, some are almost indistinguishable from our base coat, some have a little brown in them, and some are a mixture of all those previous colors. On a vast majority of the hull, I stayed within the lines, the seam lines that is, except for on the sides of the hull and the upper hull. That area doesn't have any Aztec pattern, but I still wanted to get some variety there, so I just picked out random little bits and pieces in a variety of colors. I was worried that the Aztecing might be a little bit too stark, so I decided to fade it in a little bit, going back to our pale blue gray with white added this time, and this is a heavily thinned mixture, just doing a light dusting here to soften our colors a little bit. And this is where the fun ends, because now we have to paint every single panel line on this ship. Ordinarily, with this much texture on a model, I would just airbrush the enamel wash and then wipe it off. However, that's going to darken our paint scheme quite a bit, and I wanted something a little bit cleaner. Also, normally I would first put down a gloss varnish before putting down an enamel wash, because that helps the enamel wash to flow in the recesses better, and it also helps to prevent it from staining the base coat. I did not do that in this case because the details are so fine on this model. I was worried that a gloss varnish now would actually fill in the details and prevent the wash from getting in there. As soon as the wash is completely dry, roughly 15 minutes, we want to immediately start to take it off, because the longer we wait, the harder it is to remove. I prefer cotton swabs for that task, but you can use makeup sponges or even just an old t-shirt. The benefit of the cotton swabs are they are disposable, and you want to switch to a clean one as much as possible, because using a dirty one is just going to smear that wash and darken your base coat even more. If any of the wash is being difficult to remove, just put a faint amount of odorless thinner on your Q-tip and it will come right off. You can see how much our base coat is darker now, even though I did my best here to keep it off of the raised surfaces. And that's something you have to keep in mind when using enamel washes sometimes. If you have to adjust for the fact that the paint is going to get darker. So if you want an off-white base coat, you may have to start with pure white. For the hanger, I decided to use a lighter medium gray panel liner. And the reason for that is twofold. First of all, adds a little bit more variety. Secondly, most importantly, the hanger has so much fine detail to it that the wash is going to stick around more, just because there's just so much more material for it to stick to. And if we used the same dark wash that we used on the outside here, the hanger would end up looking even darker. So lighter wash helps to alleviate that somewhat. The sides of the hull have the same problem pretty much as the hanger, a lot of detail, and it's really hard to get a Q-tip in there to get all the wash back out, or at least off the areas where I don't want it. So here, and with the hanger, I'm using a short bristled brush, just faintly moistened with some odorless thinner, and I'm using it to scrub the wash out. And the combination of the brush with the Q-tip will make sure that the wash only remains in the deepest recesses. For the engines, I'm going with a blue-brown enamel wash, because the engines are going to have a little bit of blue light in them, which was a little bit of a mistake on my part, because I forgot that, at least to my eye, the blue-brown wash actually has a bit more of a greenish tinge to them. In hindsight, I probably would have just gone with a blue-gray or a really cold gray wash. The vast majority of the model took the panel wash fine. However, there were a couple areas where the detail was just too soft and the wash could not penetrate. So for those areas, I had to go back and very carefully carve a deeper groove using an X-Acto knife. And then once that was in place, I went back and reapplied the wash there. Time for a little bit more Aztecing, this time using some very fine, thin enamel washes, basically filters, using Miggs Brown wash. And just for fun, because I just bought it, I wanted to try Ammo by Miggs' new Brusher Streaking Grime series. And both of them were just put on very faintly to add a little bit of color. For the brusher, I just put on a little dot, and then using some odorless thinner, I thinned it out to make it a little bit more blended in. Just want to add a faint hint of color here. We're not using paint like we did with the rest of the Aztecing. The lights included with the kit were a little bit too white for my liking. Wanted them a little bit more warm, but rather than replace all the LED bulbs, I just coated them with some thinned Tamiya Clear Yellow. I have it thinned with Tamiya Clear, and that's going to add a little bit more warmth to our lights. And because we're applying it directly to the light bulb, thinned in only one coat, it's not turning the entire light yellow, it's just giving it a little bit of a yellow hue. We are finally getting to the point where we can mount the ship, and here's where I made a change from the previous video. I was really worried about the mounting rod snapping off because there's going to be a lot of pressure put on this kit from having to take it apart to turn it on. So instead, I decided to use a two-part rod system, one in the base and then a smaller one that slides into the base rod. These are not glued together, so there's going to be a little bit of give between them, so things are just going to slide back and forth rather than breaking apart. Time to start putting it all together, and I had to make a few changes. There was just too much wire in the kit to run all of them underneath the battery pack, so instead I put them on top. Also, I cut a hole into the battery pack cover, so rather than having to remove it to turn the lights on, you can just use a toothpick and access both switches. Fortunately, finally assembling it, I found that I only had one really bad light leak towards the front of the upper hull. Filling it is a little bit difficult because I can't fill it the normal way because this piece has to be removed to turn the lights on. I ended up using several coats of Artist Matte Medium, but in hindsight, I think that actually the best thing to use in this situation would be to glue on some heat shrink tubing for wires. Because that's flexible and it will fill in the gap and it still allow you to pull the model apart when needed. You can also note that I replaced the stickers that I included in the kit to hold down the wires because, yeah, the stickers suck. One of the last things to do to the Star Destroyer was to add a little bit more color. The Star Destroyer actually has a few red lights, and I really wanted to add a little bit more interest to the model and recreate that. To do that, I mixed red ink with microscale crystal clear, which is a clear drying glue, and just using a pin, I filled in some holes, the best I can figure out with my reference material, and just cleaned it up as needed with a wet brush. Ideally, this would be done on the inside of the ship and not the outside. However, some of the areas I simply couldn't do because they've been sealed up completely. So wherever possible, I did it on the inside of the windows and a few on the outside. The only downside is there's a little bit of red still showing through when the model's not lit. But if I didn't tell you, I bet you couldn't spot it. Last thing to do was to do a quick paint job on our blockade runner, mount it in place, coat the whole model with some flat varnish, and we're ready to fly. And there we go, there is our finished Bandai Star Destroyer. It was about a 2-week project working on it every day. Of course, I love to complicate things. Your build could be much, much quicker if you skip the Aztecing and a few little bits here and there. I think I would have been happier if I had a final color that was a little bit closer to white, because I did want to do a more white Star Destroyer. And I knew that the wash was going to taint the base coat, but it tainted it a little bit more than I was expecting. Also, I was a little bit off on my base. First of all, I had my weight distribution completely off, so I had to re-drill the rod and move it closer to center. Also, I think I probably should have gone with a larger base as well. I think it would end up looking a little bit nicer with a bit more support underneath. But there we go. There is our finished Bandai Star Destroyer. Fairly easy build straight out of the box if you want to do that. Or as you can see, you can spend a little bit more time, add a little bit more detail to it if you wish. Hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Have I mentioned I'm immense and immortal?